inside. I don't want anybody to find out who I really am. Because I don't want my two worlds colliding. I want you to like me. I want you to pick me. I want to be picked for the team, and I want to be invited to the party. And if I were to tell you the words in my pockets right now, I'll tell you exactly what I'm holding on to in my pockets right now. I want to belong somewhere. Being really honest, I want to belong to someone. I want to be somebody's number one. I want to know that I'm not alone in the world. I don't want to be so vulnerable anymore to the parts of the world that are so painful. I want to belong, but I want it just as I am. I don't want to have to do anything to earn that. And I think it's something that we all understand. We all want to be loved. We all want somebody to belong to. But we want it just as we are. Whether we're overweight, whether we're underweight, whether we're gay or straight, whether we're sexually active or not, whether we are, whatever religion is, whatever the color of our skin is, we want to belong. And we want to be liked just as we are, because as we are should be enough. I had secrets, and I said no one's ever going to know my secrets. And when I was 24 years of age, I remember I was working off-Broadway in New York City, graduated from NYU with a degree in literature, and I was an out-of-work actor. And my job for 1 week was on an off-Broadway show to clean out a trapdoor under the stage. So literally, there was a trapdoor on the stage that I was working underneath in New York City. So the actors could use the trapdoor for a bit joke. And I got $50 that week and promised an equity card, which I didn't get, into the union. To clean out the trapdoor, I was literally underneath a trap door. And this guy approaches me, and he says, I know you. I know you. Maybe I don't know you, but I know your secret. And he leaves. And the next day he saw me off stage in one of the wings, and I was mopping the stage. And he stood a little too close to me, closer than most people stand. He broke that personal private space. And I liked the way he smelled. And I hated the fact that I liked the way he smelled. And I became a contradiction, something we don't like to be if we're in college. We don't like being contradictions. We don't like not making sense. And the next day, he got even closer. I cut my finger, and he sat next to me. He took a Band-Aid, and he wrapped my finger in a Band-Aid. He touched me. He placed the Band-Aid on my finger gently, and then he gave me his phone number and said, you should call me because I know your secret. And I remember the actors rehearsing their music. The lyrics to the show was called A Walk on the Wild Side. It was a book from when I was in high school, in the 70s. They made a musical out of it, and it's ironic that this happened while the show, A Walk on the Wild Side, was going on. That's the name of the show. And these are some of the lyrics in one of the songs that I heard the actors rehearsing on stage. The life we lead and don't last for long. Live for today. No one I see gets lived for free. And if you need somebody strong, honey, don't count on me. This was the backdrop. This was the soundtrack to my life in the year, the month, November of 1987. 24 years ago. Honey, don't count on me. And he gave me his number and said, you should give me a call. And I said to myself, I'm never going to call this guy. I don't know this guy. Don't raise your hands, don't even nod. But how many times have you ever said, I'm never going to do that, whatever that is, and then you do it? And tonight's talk is about sex, but it could be about anything that you answer that question. It could be about cheating on a test, or driving above the speed limit, or throwing up your dinner. And if you say, this, as most people say, most students say, this is the last time I'll ever do this, that's how we get away with it. It is the last time we ever do it, whatever it is, because it's the only way we can get away with telling ourselves that we're going to do this next thing. Until the next time, which then becomes the last time. How many times have we ever said, I'm not going to throw up my dinner. This is the last time I'm going to cut my skin. This is the only time I'm going to have unsafe sex. I'm never going down with him again. I'm not going to cheat on a test. I'm not going to whatever it is. And then we do it again. We don't make sense. We are contradictions. And when the contradiction arises inside of ourselves, we put those words in our pockets and say, not me. I'm going to be what the world wants me to be. So I said, I'm not going to call this guy, and of course I did. And I said, I'm not going to go to his apartment, and of course I did. I said, I'm not going to climb the stairs and hook up with him, but of course I did. Because how many times have you been to a diner or a restaurant when the server puts a plate down and says, hot plate, don't touch it, I'll put it down. And you touch the plate. We touch hot plates. If we are young adults, we touch hot plates. Literally and metaphorically, we don't make sense. And I'm going to tell you the 3 reasons why we touch hot plates, because I've taken a survey around the country. Here's why we touch hot plates. Number 1, I've been told, because we don't believe the waiter. We don't like getting lied to, right? Nobody likes getting lied to. We just want to make sure the waiter wasn't lying. Just tell them the truth. Yes, that's hot. He was telling the truth. Got it. Or if there's other people at the table, we want to make sure they know that we can take hot. Don't worry, I got this. Hot's fine. I like hot, in fact. Number 2, the second reason we touch hot plates, and this is literally, this is also, I'm speaking metaphorically, figuratively. We touch hot plates because, and this is what I've been told from students that have written to me, because secretly, we like it when our fingers burn. There's something to that. And it may not make sense to all of us in this room, but to the student in front of me who throws up her dinner with a toothbrush down her throat or her fingers and obsesses about it every time she or he sits in the dining hall, you know what it feels like to like fingers that burn. And for the student in front of me who cuts into his or her skin with an X-Acto knife, a ritual instrument, a razor blade, in places that our parents don't ever see, because I don't believe that cutting is really a cry for help. I've been told otherwise. I don't believe it. I think it's a private, personal experience. You know why we want our fingers to burn. But more importantly, for the student in front of me who's already had, and I'm not judging, I have no place to judge, ever, who's already had some kind of unsafe sexual act, especially unsafe sexual intercourse, penile, vaginal, or anal sex, which, by the way, is the only way that sex is defined these days, as if oral sex isn't sex. To me, oral sex is sex. Well, I think it is. I think oral sex is sex because it's called oral sex. If it wasn't oral sex, they'd call it something. It wasn't sex. They would call it something. They'd call it maybe oral fun or something. They call it oral sex because it's sex. Everybody has to be, or an STI, like gonorrhea or pharyngitis, and it's easy to get gonorrhea from oral sex, then it's got to be sex. But look, it doesn't matter what you call it, what I call it. Most people call sex sexual intercourse. And the reason why we like our fingers to burn, for those of you in this room who already engaged in some kind of unsafe sexual act, you know why you like your fingers to burn. But here's the main reason people touch hot plates. Because we're hungry. I met a student who was a waiter at Friendly's, and he said, I know why. I'm the one who puts the hot plate down. I'm the one, and I watch them touch the plate. I told them not to touch. And I asked them, why would you do that? And they say, I was hungry. Just wanted to eat. But tonight's talk is about secret lives of sex and the secret lives of teenagers. So let's just take the word hungry and turn it into what it really is. Horny. Seriously. That's why we touch hot plates. That's why we call people we say we're never going to call. That's why we go into encounters we think we shouldn't be doing, or we find ourselves in places that we didn't think we'd ever be in, because